Right. So I'm explaining how matrix can work for us for this question 1, where we've been asked to show the gender distribution within this organization. Okay. So I've clicked on the matrix visual, and I'm showcasing the distribution by location and by department. So the order of hierarchy I'm using is location first, and then department under that. And that's why we have it like that. If I had put department first, it brings us this. That is, what I'm saying is under accounting, for example, department, each of the location, we'll look at each of the location. Then under business development, we'll look at each of the location. And I'm saying I don't believe that should be the order of the hierarchy. Okay, I believe it should be location on top, and then each department under each location. That is, when we get to Abuja, we want to see all of the departments there. When we get to Kaduna, we want to see all of the departments there, and so on and so forth. And I made an example of calendar. Okay. In case of dates, the order of hierarchy from top is we have year, then we have the months under the year, we have the weeks under the months, we have the days under the weeks, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the reasoning that's behind this. Okay, then we see that rows has been sorted. If you have more dimensions that you want to show this by, of course, you can drop them in rows. What do I want in my columns? I want to see the genders in the column. Okay, so I'm going to drop the gender, drag it into the columns here where it says add data. Okay, and we can see that. So if you click on anyone and they've gone to the wrong, under the wrong band, you can always drag and drop where you want them to occur. Okay, can we see now we have the female, male, undisclosed, and then each of the locations. Then I can drop my measure. My own measure is still here. And I think it's the total number of employees. Yeah, it's that one. So I'm just going to click on that. And that will straight away go under values because it's seen it as number. Okay. So just to make that a little more visible, while we are here, I'll go into my paintbrush and just try and increase the size of each of these. Okay, the sizes. So I want to increase the size of the values. I click on the values. You can change the font of it, the font type as well, but I won't bother myself with that just yet. Okay, and I'll go into the column headers as well. I want that to be bolder than that as well, in terms of size, and then the rows as well. So columns and the row headers as well. I want that to be increased as well. So here we go to 14. So that's more visible. Okay. So we can see at a glance, we can see that Abuja, under Abuja as a whole, we have 155 females, 158 males, and we have 17 that did not disclose their gender. And that goes for each of the other locations. We can easily see. Now, some people want to see these numbers like this. That's fine. Okay. And you could have a larger matrix than this, such that the numbers are too many to look at the same time. Okay. But yeah, we can expand this and see how each of the departments then fared. Okay. We can see in Abuja, accounting, we have more males than females. Business the development has more females than male, and that's you showing how the genders are distributed first at location level and then at department level for each of the locations. Okay, so that's one way to show it. Okay, or you could one other visual I found. I'm just going to keep this here for now. One other visual I found quite useful is this, which was the stacked column chart, that I clicked on at first. Okay, so we have the stacked column, and then I'm just going to expand it. The same thing that we did here. Okay, so I need my location. I'm going to click on location. Okay, I need my department. I'll do that. Okay, can you see? It's straight away, it's dropped department as legend. Now that is not what I want. Okay, so I'm going to remove the department from under legend and put it with in the x-axis just under the location, the way we did for, yeah, like that, the way that it was done for the matrix. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my values in. Okay, and it's total number of employees, so I'll do that. Can we see it's brought that in? But there's no way to see which is male and which is female. Okay, so this is where my legend, this box here would now play a part. I'll drop the legend in there, and straight away it has given us a key. And we see that the deeper of the blues stands for female, and the lighter one for male, and then we can see the proportion of the undisclosed. Okay, so I'm going to expand this more. Okay, come on now. Okay, just so that we have a bit of, it's a little too busy, before I show anything further. I'm just going to remove, because we can see from the title, total number of employees by location and all of that. So I'm going to remove this total number of employees by the side here. And I will do that each time you want to design or do anything within, or change anything within your visual, you always need this paintbrush. And that is the y-axis title. So I'll go into the y-axis, and the title is this one. I'll switch it off. I don't want the title. Of course, I want the values. But again, I could make the values show inside. So I could leave it like this, which does not really give much, it leaves a lot to be desired. For example, it doesn't exactly give me the figures for each of these boxes, So rather than leave this and rather than use that, I'm going to say that, okay, turn off my y-axis, actually, the y-axis value. So I turned the title off at first. I'm going to turn off this as well. Okay, and because I've done that, I'm now going to go into data label. Data labels will just, go in and put the exact number for each of the segments, exactly the way that they are. So I'll switch this on, and straight away you can see that it's telling us that accounting, the first one, accounting female, we have 9, and we are in Abuja. Okay, now the beauty of the stacked, let's take this out of the way so that, now the beauty of this one, this stacked column chart, yeah, is that you can drill down to the lowest level. When I'm on this, you see where this is expanding into 2, this icon here, it's telling us at the lowest level of the data. That is, at the lowest level is showing us by location and as well by department. Okay, what if all I want to display so far is just I just want it by maybe location alone or by department alone? That's what these 2 other arrows are there for. You can go down, okay, but there's no more down to go into with this data, or you can go up. Okay, can you see when I click on the up arrow, it's summarized everything by location. Okay, and anybody looking at this can see that Kaduna has the highest number of people generally, because we can see that this is a kind of comparison analysis as well. You're comparing how many people are in each location now, and how many we have in each gender bracket as well. Okay, we can see 158 in total for males, 155 for females in Abuja, and so on and so forth. And we can see that we have the lowest number of workers in Lagos. Without looking at the numbers, by the height of the bars, we can see. Okay, so that's one way to display this. And if you just want to show by department alone, without looking at location, you can also make that happen. So you're looking at the whole nation as a whole for this company. And in total for accounting, this is the proportion of male to female. In total for business development department, for all of the locations now, this is also how they are distributed. Okay, and you can change the title of this, to what it represents in that requirement, where it's saying that gender distribution. So I can just copy this. Let's just use that part. See how we change the title to something not too long like this. Okay, so while I'm here, again, we go into the paintbrush, and we start with the title. Oh, general. Yeah, it looks like I'm using the really old version of Power BI, to be honest. Okay, so we have our title here. And we in the title is switched on. If you want it off, of course, if you don't want title. But I see no reason why we would not have title on our chart. You have to have a title that tells people what they are looking at. Okay. So instead of saying total number of employees by department and gender, by default, Power BI would naturally give you a title by what you have done. Okay. Now, if you are not too happy with the wording, you can always change it. Okay. So I'm just going to say, just paste what I had there. So we can just say gender distribution within gender distribution by location and the department. Okay, so that should be fine. By location or within Palmoria. Okay, within the whole of Palmoria, but because whoever is looking at this can see that there is department and there's location again, but it's your choice by location and department. So whatever you choose to do there is your choice. If that was me, I'll just put if I was presenting, I'll just put Palmoria gender distribution, and that will be me done. Okay, so that is been changed, like we can see. If you're happy with the font type that has been used, if not, you can change the font. I use Arial most of the time. You can decide to bolden it. Okay, if that's too big, you can reduce it if you want. And I like to place it in the middle, as well. You can decide to give it a background color. At the moment, the title has no background color. Okay, so you can, if you want, decide to say, okay, I want the background of it to be actually be dark gray, and the text, so that it pops out, to be white. Okay, that's a kind of design you can decide to use. It's your choice. Okay. What I do with my legends as well, we already know that female, male, that's gender. So I'm going to come into the gender box. Not gender now, the what's that one called again? The legend, because that's our legend. Okay, so going to where visual is and look for under legend. Yeah, you can decide to switch it off, but that means people would know what each color stands for. So we need that to be on so that we know what is happening. Okay. You can decide to have it at the moment, it's at the top left corner of the whole visual. You can decide to have it at the middle. If you want top center, okay, I think the center is all right. And I don't want this gender bit to show because it's obvious that it's gender anyway. So I'm switching off the title of it. I can decide to do something different with the text, as well. Most of the time, again, I prefer for my, what's it called? The font to be uniform across. I use Arial all through. Whatever you use, try and make it uniform so that there's consistency, okay? Again, the color of that text is gray. I think it will benefit anyone looking at it if it's actually black, and maybe we bolden it as well to make it more obvious, okay? What more can we do better here? All these texts, I think they can benefit from being darker. At the moment, they are gray as well, okay? Maybe we should make them darker, okay? So I'll go into, these are x-axis values, okay? So x-axis, the values, I make it Arial as well, okay? Maybe we increase the size of it a little, we bolden it, and we make it black. Okay, I think that works better. Okay. I think it's obvious that this is department. You can decide to leave it if it doesn't seem obvious enough. Okay, so I'll leave that alone. Okay. And the values themselves, the values, the colors, the white color is all right, for the values. So let's collapse that and go into data labels, actually, not values now. Data labels, okay, let's do a bit more with the data labels, the value of the data labels. What's field? I hope I'm in the right. So this is just a quick tour of how you can design and change your, yeah, it is. You can design and change your, so that's the highest I can change it to. Okay, that looks bigger and better. It's showing us that the color is gray, but it's actually white. So I'm not gonna touch that. I like what it is showing. I think everyone can easily see what that is. And that's how you change your visual from what we had to something a little more eye-catchy, okay? And we have succeeded in showing what gender distribution would look like if we decide to go with this. I think I would prefer this, okay? But that is not to say that the other one we did, this one, the matrix, that's not to say that it's also not nice, okay? It's also very good. Again, stakeholder management, it depends on who your stakeholders are and what they prefer to interact with the one that they interact with better. Okay, so that's what would help you, as well. Yes. Okay. So there's a way you can design this as well. Okay, so we have this. Okay, so I can decide to layered precepts. I can decide. I think what I normally do here is show this as in tabular form, so that if you don't want to be expanding and collapsing before it shows, it will leave it like this for you, okay? So easily you can see, okay, this is Abuja and these are the departments under it, okay? You can also decide to go into the title. It hasn't given it a title. You can switch it on and, put a title there, okay? And we can just put what we have here, gender distribution by department. Okay, I'm just copying that. And then we can come and put it here. Okay. Because they are not really the same visual, let me see. Most of the time, if you are finished doing all the fine tuning in one, and you want the same to be copied to another visual, most of the time it works for the same type of visual. But let's see. So I've clicked on this and I want the changes here to just be made to this without me needing to do it all over again. You just click on that, come onto your format painter. Can you see as I moved around, it's changed into a painter brush. Okay, so if we do that, okay, copied some of it. So I really actually wanted it to have that title background, and it's given it that. That's fine. There's a lot more you can do here, but I'll leave you, because you can't teach all of it. You know, I'll leave you to experiment and go into all of these different boxes here and do things to your visuals. You can decide to change the color of the line. You know, you can change the grid, the way it looks, and so on and so forth. So that's gender distribution question 1, done for us in 2 different ways with 2 different visuals, still achieving the same thing. Do we have any question with this number 1 at all? Comment, question, something not completely done, or whatever it is. Let's have it.
Yes, I just look at the gender distribution under the undisclosed one. We can't see the numbers for those ones. Is there any way we can display that to show?
So the blank ones.
Yeah, the undisclosed. So we don't have the number.
Oh, as in here in this visual.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because they are really so small compared to the rest, it won't display it because it's really tiny. But if you bring your cursor here and place it on top, it will give you the number that it is. Can you see? Undisclosed here is 5, you know. So
can
using,
we have it as a call out or something if we really, want it to show?
have it as a call out in what way?
Yeah, as in, where the something will be displayed.
Can you see?
Oh, okay, now we can see. Okay. So I'm just,
Okay.
sometimes you can have it display on top of it, not inside.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can. You can just insert text box and bring it on top and leave it there. But it means as you move your visual around, you have to be moving the text box around.
No, that what I mean is to, when they say you call it out, so there will be an arrow pointing to it, and you will now, from there, it will now show the figure. Is that not possible?
Except you want to make a customized tool. No, that's not even answering the question you are. So you want an arrow. If this, like the way this was not displaying, yeah.
Yes.
So we are saying to do what now? Let me get you.
To have a call out, so we have an arrow from here coming out on top, and then you can have the figure.
Yeah, those are things you can easily do. You can insert an arrow here, put an arrow here to say, and put a 5 there. If it's 5, like the one I'm on is 5, an arrow on top and say 5. So however you want it to show, it could mean that you have to custom make that for yourself. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You are welcome, sir. Okay. So that is that for question 1. I think other things I saw, well, let me see very quickly if we can touch on. It says show insights on ratings based on gender. I believe we saw this with Prof already. Ratings based on gender. I think I've got something here, if it makes sense. Again, yeah. Is this? Yeah, it is. Okay. So it's saying that we should show the insights on ratings based on the gender. Okay. Now, this does not necessarily give much insights, to be honest. All I've done here is exactly what we have been doing. Let me click on that so that we'll see. So is the highlighted one is the matrix that I used again. Okay. And I put ratings in the row box, and the gender in the column, and then the values, that total number of employees. Okay, that's all that I did here. Okay, but like I said, that this did not necessarily give more than the fact that, okay, those with average ratings, we have 186, we have 212, okay? Now, it would be nice to have like what Prof did, something around maybe 20%, you know, of the female gender were rated average more than, you know, however you want to word that. Because what we've been asked is not just to show the distribution. We're just showing the distribution here. The question says that they want to see an insight, you know, into how these ratings have gone. How have each gender fared compared to the other? And how does that help for any action that we might want to put in place? Okay, why are females being rated more or less average than their male counterparts? Okay, and is there any way that we can help such that we have better ratings from our employers or employees for these employees in terms of, let's study, do we need to look at their attitude to work? Is there anything personal to them that's making these ratings to be below average? I think, again, this is where Prof's analogy of below average and above average would help. Okay, if we are having people that are working at an average level, fair enough. But we want, if one of the values we have as a place of work is excellence, obviously we don't want any of our employees to be working at an average level, because one of our values is excellence. Okay, so how do we help these people who have the potential to move from being average employees to good, and then to very good, and then to excellent? You know, I think one can even recommend that because our value, one of them is excellence, why are we having only very good? How about we have another top tier above very good that would display excellent, which is what we are about. These are all recommendations that we can bring, you know, for this particular number 2 question. Okay, how about we look at those that are below average? What more trainings do they need? What more support can we put in place for the coming year, you know, and how can we measure that whatever support we put in place is actually helping them to progress? Okay, so these are all discussions that will be taken to the management table, you know, all towards the improvement of the organization as a whole. Does that make sense? Do we understand that? I need response, please, people. Our time is far gone. Let's respond. Am I still in this class? I am.
Yes, it makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
You are welcome, sir. Okay. So I think that's how I would approach that question. Is there any other thought that's popping into your mind about how we show set insights on the ratings that we've got based on the gender? Okay. If there isn't, it says we should analyze the company's salary structure. Identify that there is a gender pay gap. If there is, identify the department. So this is the question that actually talks to the reason, the objective of this project. Okay, so we've been given these to work with. We have the salary of each one of them. We've banded the salaries. Okay, again, I think I would go with Prof's approach of saying, okay, those that are in top band, maybe the 6-figure earners, the top earners from 100K to 120K, those are top earners. Maybe we'll have a middle belt somewhere, okay? For those that are earning anything from 50K down to just below 100, okay? So those are the middle belters. And then we have the rest, those are below 50K, okay? What do you want to call them, okay? Then how then do we, then we can bucket how many females fall into each of these smaller buckets: the top earners, the middle belters, and the low earners. Okay, that way we can see where the gap is. Why are we having, if we are to look at these two top ones here now, we'll just spend a few minutes on this and then we'll call it a night. Sorry if we are taking too much of the time. I'm just going to increase this so that we see this well. Okay. And then the row headers can, just so we are looking at something a bit uniform. Okay, let's bolden that up. Okay, so we have this now. Okay, so then we can say the topmost is this. Now, this is not showing the way I would have loved, because these are not numbers that you can arrange in seeing this as text. Okay, and that's why it's giving 1-1, you know, because of this thing in the middle. Okay, so the topmost is this. We have 36 and 50, 36, 57. What ratio is that? Ratio 36 to 57. So there's a gap there. Okay, and then we have ratio 45 to 53. Okay, so those two top bands, we have more males. Okay, so that is something to hang on to. Actually, there's a gap. Okay, and then that takes us to from 50. I'm looking, so you look at from 50 to the bottom now. Okay, within the 50 to 60, again, more male. Again, down there, more male. Okay, finally, there's a more female group just by one, because again, we have to consider, okay, there is more, but by how much? Okay, if we are saying there's more here, 55 to 54, it's just by one figure, one number. Okay, we move to the next one, 55 to 47. Okay, that's not too bad. And well, not too bad. You get what I mean? There's the gap is there, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so there's actually a gap here. We can't really call this a gap like that, because like I said, it's very close. It's a very close call. And then 90 here is also very close call. And then we look at what's happening within the low banders. Okay, and we can see, okay, less female, more female, more female, you know, okay, more males in these, no, I'm going beyond my boundary. So it's just these three, 56 to 47, 55. So we can see the lowest band has more women compared to men. Okay, so I think looking at that, and these are, I think I would look for a more effective way to actually show this, such that you can decide to use conditional formatting, you know, such that at a glance, it can be easily seen, okay? You can conditionally format this. And how do you do that? If you go into here, okay, where you have the values, if we right-click that conditional format, you can play around. Is it the background color you want to use, the font color, or data bars, however you want to play that, okay, to show that actually there is a gap in this, within this band, or there's no gap, or the gap is smaller, you know, something that pops out. Okay, so again, I'll leave us to decide what we are doing with that. Okay. Is there anyone that doesn't understand what this insight number 3 question is about and what they should be doing? I want to believe you can easily do number 1. I want to also believe you can do number 2. Showing insight has been explained. Number 1 has been explained and done. Number 3, I've just explained it. And I've said, decide on how you want to present that, but that is the rationale behind what you are looking for. Okay. And then number 4, a recent regulation was adopted, which requires manufacturing companies to pay employees a minimum of 100,000. At a glance, we can see here that we've got quite a lot of employees that are below 100. A lot, more than half of their employees are being paid below 100. Okay, so that one is very glaring. Okay, again, you can decide to use use a visual that easily displays. Maybe you want to put everyone from 100 up into one band and everyone below 100 into another band, you know, and just show that, just so you will show that using any of these comparison, whatever here. Okay, sorry, I did it like that, but something that will show that, okay, those are above 100, all of them, this is their number. Okay, and we would easily see that the bar for that, for the above 100 will be maybe somewhere here, and the bar for those that are below 100K will be way longer. And that, again, that would speak to their mind, the management, that more than half of their employees are actually being paid below the minimum. So they are criminals. They are not obeying. They are not playing by the rules, by government rules, when it comes to people's welfare. Okay, so that is that. Okay, and I think if we succeed in finishing all of that, the rest is quite small. I'm gonna stop recording now.